Hi everybody, my name is Sean Ridgway, aka the Useless Talent Guy, and today I'm going to be showing you two super easy handlings of Triumph that you can do, as well as an extra bonus handling. Start out by having a card selected, in this case the 2 of spades. Check this out, have you ever heard of a drunken shuffle before? No? Well, a drunken shuffle is when you take about half the cards face up, half the cards face down, and you mix them all into each other, creating a complete mess, just like this. You can hear those cards actually getting mixed together. You can see that there's some face down, there's some face up, face down. I think you get the picture. Until, of course, I give it a snap. And now every single card actually writes itself, with the exception of one card, hopefully your card, the 2 of spades. So that was the performance of the Rollover Triumph. Before we break this down though, I try to do weekly uploads. So if Magic is something that's interesting to you, these tutorials are only going to get better. So please like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to click that bell to be notified whenever I upload. So in this tutorial, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to be teaching you 2 different handlings of the Rollover Triumph. And this also comes from the Days project. It was day 14. And at the end, I'm also going to show you an extra handling that is slightly different, but you'll get the idea. Basic handling for Rollover Triumph. First and foremost, this is highly discrepant. Is this the best Triumph out there? No. However, I don't feel like the Magic community has enough versions, so I figured I would go ahead and throw both of mine in as well. So for this first handling, the handling you saw in the video, any card is selected and controlled to the top. If you want me to break down any type of top controls, I'm happy to. Just leave a comment down below and we'll see when we get to it. First step, have a card selected, controlled to the top in whatever way you see fit. In our case, we're going to be using the Queen of Spades. So once the card is on top, I get a break just somewhere about halfway down. I just stick my finger somewhere, guesstimating about halfway down in the deck. And here's what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of motion, but it will fly. If you say it with conviction and you make eye contact with your audience in the offbeat, nobody will ever catch this. So this hand comes over, and what you're going to do, you're going to lift off this half of the deck as you are talking about a drunken shuffle, because you're also asking them a question, so they kind of got to go introspective for a minute and have to think about, like, have I ever heard that before? So while that's going on, I lift off about half the deck, and I use this top half to lever over the bottom half, from face down to face up. But obviously I don't want them to see this, so what I do, I lift up, and as I tilt this over, my thumb is going to contact this top card, in this case their selection, and drag it on to this bottom packet. And in that continuing motion, the remaining piece of the top half is going to be rotated face up. I know that's a little beefy, but bear with me. So we'll do it again. So they have the card, in this case the Ace of Diamonds, on the top. You ask them the question, you lift up, rotate this packet as your thumb drags their selection, and this continues to revolve just like so. So now, from a casual perspective, this looks like you've turned half the cards face up, half the cards face down. When in reality, you have half the deck face up, their selection, and then the other half also face up. So really nothing has happened. So I'll do that once at speed. So we have our 7 of spades. Have you ever heard of a drunken shuffle before? No? Well, a drunken shuffle is when you take about half the cards face up, half the cards face down, you shuffle them in. Do you see what I mean? It is discrepant, but if you are making eye contact, that's gonna fly. While we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and touch on the second handling, because the two different handlings vary in this one movement. Everything else is exactly the same. So the first handling is the one that I just broke down. You lift off, you rotate, and you drag that card over. That's the easier of the two, but I also feel that it could be optimized, which is why I'm teaching this version as well. So once the card is on top, in this case the King of Hearts, we get our break in the middle. What I'm going to do when I ask that question is I'm going to do a half pass. and keep a break. So I'm not going to fully break this down, but just to give you an idea, this hand is going to come over, and these fingers are just going to pull down and rotate this packet around, and I maintain my break. So from here, I've controlled it to the top. As I ask them the question, I just do this, and I'm ready to go. So now, my position check is their card, half the deck face down, half the deck face up. To me, this looks much more fair and less discrepant. So one more time, you've controlled the card, the 4 of spades. You ask them the question, you do the move, now you're ready to go. So now all you have to do, since you're already maintaining that break, is you're going to do a slip cut. So this thumb is going to be pressing on their selection. This top packet is going to be moved out, and this card is just going to be slipped off, covering that bottom packet. As this is happening, just like the other version, this is going to rotate over just like so. So I'll do that one more time slow, and then I'll do it at speed. Again, this is the less discrepant, but slightly more knacky handling. 2 of diamonds. You ask them the question as you do the half pass. Then you say, well, the drunken shuffle is actually when you take about half the cards face up, half the cards face down. You see what I mean? This makes much more sense. But either handling you prefer, whether you do the half pass or whether you just do it right out in the open, you're going to take these 2 packs, and if you're doing it in the hands, I would just faro them together. But if you have a table, feel free to just do a riffle shuffle. Being careful, and I will go ahead and say this, if you are doing a riffle shuffle, be careful not to do this, because they will see that discrepancy. They think this is supposed to be a face down packet, but if you do this and they see them all face up, they're gonna know something isn't right. So what I would recommend if you opt for this is to keep everything tight and do more of a casino shuffle, like a riffle shuffle, keeping everything tight and just riffling those corners together. But either way you choose, the packets are now mixed, and it does not matter if this card is face up or face down on the top. Those get buried into each other, and now you have a choice. You can either just give the deck a cut and show that the trick is done, or you can take it a step further. I believe this was a David Williamson idea, which was based off a Paul Harris idea called the color stunner, and it allows you to show a card face up, a card face down, a card face up, card face up, and so on and so forth. So what that is in a nutshell, let's say that you've ended and you have 1 card on top after your shuffle. You can cleanly show the cards are face up, and I just throw this into the middle of the deck, face down, and now as I'm doing this, I'm just getting a break over the top 1 or 2 cards, and I'm doing a tilt. SparkNotes version, you have a big honkin' break like this that you can drive a truck through. This card goes underneath, just like so, it just slips in there. But from this angle, or this angle, that really does look like it's going about halfway down. And once you square that up, you can repeat that. Show. And this time, I would actually put this card into the middle, thus completing your trick. So once their card is legitimately in the middle, you're done. Just to reiterate, that phase is not, that display is not crucial, but it can add if you're just feeling a little frisky. From here, the trick is done, and you can reveal in any way you see fit. For me, I like to hold it towards myself, show that all the cards have fixed themselves with the exception of 1 card. And I continue to spread to show everything is copacetic, and then I display their card. And I do this for a couple of different reasons. I'm not the first to talk about this, but if you haven't heard, I think it's best when you're doing any type of triumph routine to do it like so. Because let's say you do it, and then you show. You get the one magic moment. You don't really get the moment of them unmixing and the card being found. So you're kind of shortchanging yourself. However, if you break it up in beats, by even doing it like this, Magic effect number 1 is that all the cards have righted themselves. This adds drama, this adds suspense, because they're not even sure that that's their card. They think it is, but they don't know for sure. So now you can build up, build up, build up, and then reveal. So you get 2, arguably 3 different magic moments that you would sacrifice if you just went in like that. Just a thought. So those were 2 different handlings for the Rollover Triumph. So now let's move into another Triumph handling that's arguably the easiest of any of them. So this is a Triumph I came up with when I was probably 17, 18. Super easy. What you're gonna do is you're going to control the card to the bottom of the deck in your favorite manner. If you want me to go over any type of controls to the bottom, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to get to them. But once the card is on the bottom of the deck, you're going to execute a half pass underneath that bottom card. So position check, you have the entire deck face down with the exception of their selection face up on the bottom. So at speed, as an example, they touch a card. In this case, this card right here, memorize it. It's going down here, and now you're set up and ready to do your Triumph. So once the card is reversed on the bottom of the pack, you're going to do, I believe this move is called the Tenkai Optical Reverse. It's very derivative of other Triumph routines. So you're going to lift off about half the cards, and you're going to rotate both hands the opposite way. So the hand that's palm down is going to rotate palm up. The hand that's palm up is going to rotate palm down. But if you keep all of this very tight, it looks like you've turned half face up and half face down, when in reality, you haven't done anything. So I'll do that again. Position check. You've got an all face down deck with a reverse selection on the bottom. Lift off about half the cards under the guise of asking them about the shuffle. And you just rotate both wrists. And that's all there is to it. And then you proceed as normal. Keep everything tight, shuffle these together. You can do that display if you'd like. In this case, I won't bother. You can just show some cards are face down, I put it in the middle. Some cards face up, I put it in the middle. Do your move to show that all the cards have righted themselves with the exception of one, in this case, their selection, the 4 of diamonds. So there you have it. You've got 3 different versions of Triumph, or at least different handlings of them. I hope you've enjoyed them. Worst case scenario, at least you got what you paid for. If you enjoy this type of stuff, please subscribe and hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever there is a new upload. Well, that's all for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video.